Okay guys, so I was going to have a really fun little intro, but the little one here has decided it's too cold for her. And there goes my fun joke about the new heated, kitten included Carhartt or Dickies jackets they're selling at Walmart on sale right now. Unfortunately, little Athena here does not want to participate in this video because it is really cold outside, so she's going to stay in the shop where the heaters are running and she can be warm. Yep. And we're going to go start a video. What do you say, little one? Well, she wants me to stay in here where it's warm, but we got to go make a video. So let's go do that. What do you say? No? Dang. Well, so much for this being a car video, right? It's just going to be me playing with a kitten for the first minute of the video. All right, let's get into it. So right into the video. Thank you, Athena, because we're actually going to start right here and just show off this piece right here. And if you guys are long-term viewers, you'll know what that 4-speed transmission goes to. So you know where this is headed, right? Right? All right. Let's go get the car it belongs to. But wait, the tunnel ram that also will be going on that particular engine. Ooh, sorry for the mess. Now to the car. You coming now, Athena? No, she's just got my keys. That's okay. Alrighty guys and gals, so we're headed over to check out a particular car in the fleet. Something that is quite popular on the channel, and in fact one of the cars I deem probably more popular than my Charger Jezebel. Also, if you guys are still interested, we still have some of our limited edition 07 classic t-shirts. I'm actually wearing mine right now. Unfortunately, I'm just completely bundled up because it's really cold. So now we've arrived at the vehicle. What do you say? Let's look at it. Wait, commercial break. Ad break time. Howdy everybody. I hate to be this guy, but I've got to be this guy because I invested in t-shirts because, well, I finally was pestered enough to finally invest in some. So we got a limited run of 200 of these 07 classic Scott Speed Shop shirts. I'm wearing mine right now. It is freaking cold in Kansas. And this is actually a really nice shirt. It was just enough to keep me cool in the muggy Missouri heat at Sykeston, Missouri, and here in Kansas. Even though I'm wearing a red thermal underneath, this thing is just perfect. On the back side, it features our full color logo. And there it is. I had to rustle that thing off, but there's the backside of the shirt. They're really nice. Handmade right here in my hometown by a local company, so they are made with love and care. I'm really happy with that company. They're going to do the rest of our designs in the future. This one is really simple, really basic. That's the way we wanted to keep it. The shirts are 25 bucks a piece, and all the ordering information is down in the link description below. Sizes are medium to 3X men's. That's all we got in this run right now, but in the future when we do more one-off car-themed shirts, we'll be sure to incorporate larger and potentially smaller sizes depending on demands. And right now I know we've got a heck of a lot more demand for the larger sizes. I completely misunderstood. But anyways, so if you want to get one of these, be more than free. Ordering information, like I said, is in the video description below. If not, it's not a big deal. I do not expect anybody to buy a shirt. Just watching the videos is plenty thanks enough. As long as you enjoy it, that's all I could ever ask of you guys. You guys are the greatest. Thank you as always. Back to the video. Alrighty. So, what is that sitting right there? Is that the infamous 1966 Dodge Dart GT that we have named the Yard Dart because, well, it mostly just sits in the yard. Yes, it is. This is our factory 273 4-barrel HP automatic bucket seat console, black and white interior with the funky gold exterior, original paint. Canadian built car also that is completely made out of homemade floor pans because it was so rotted out because of the homemade shag, well, the shag carpeting and house insulation that was in the car when I first got it. It had 14 by 10 slots. It stuck way out. Now it's got a respectable 15 by 8, but I would like to go back to the crazy ones. It's also got the ridiculous homemade radiused wheel wells with the flares. I fell in love with this car the first time I ever saw it on Facebook Marketplace. God dang it. And I just couldn't not own the car. I had to have it, and the price was ridiculous. And luckily I said, screw it, I'm gonna go talk to the guy anyways. And I got it for a much more reasonable price. And long story short, fell in love with the car and actually built a correct 273 small block V8 for it. Solid lifter cam. It's got a Mopar Performance circle track cam and an LD 4B intake, which I plan on putting that custom intake on, that custom tunnel ram from my buddy Andrew Bostrom at Bostrom Racing. He's got a YouTube channel. We featured his Pro Stock Nostalgia Demon before. Phoenix Specialty Coatings, who do really epic powder coating. Restored the valve covers. Of course, they're very dusty, but all that wipes off and they still look just as good as when Leanna and Billy did them. Unlike my Spitfire headers, which, well, I didn't do the best work with keeping those in good shape. This engine still runs fantastic, but it's got one big problem. And that problem to me is in this star shifter, which I've never liked. And yeah, I could get a different shifter and I could change it to a different automatic shifter, but I figure the best shifter is a 4-speed shifter. And plus, this car's already got, I don't know why, it never was a 4-speed car. Why it has a clutch brake pedal, because it's the smaller one, I have no idea. But it's got all the stuff on the firewall and stuff for the 4-speed bracketry factory, so I don't know. But yeah, this is also the car we made the homemade door panels for. But now that we're done talking about the yard dart and showing it off and reminding you guys about this car, not that we're going to start working on this thing anytime soon, but the rest of this video is mostly about shifters and the shifters that I can choose from to put on my 4-speed. So, now we're done with the yard dart. Let's head back to the shop and talk about shifters. So to the Dart's transmission here. Let me turn on a light. So on my Dart's 1966 Mopar A-body 4-speed, which actually is kind of funny. I bought this and it's got all the correct 66 A-body stuff, except for the homemade reverse rod that we had to do because I wasn't going to pay the stupid money for that one. So we made one and it worked. I think we did a video on it too. But anyways, it's got a factory Hurst H pattern shifter box. Nothing wrong with it. It's actually a really good box. This one's in great shape. I checked it out, cleaned it, rebuilt it. It's in great shape. And I mean, you just can't beat this. It's classic, it's timeless, it's awesome. The H pattern shift, it's perfect. It makes any car better. Right, Athena? She actually meowed yes. So, but if you want something maybe a little bit different than, say, the standard generic H pattern, you can always go to like a super shifter or something. This isn't a super shifter, it's just a competition plus H pattern with an Indy stick. But you get the point that that's your generic standard H pattern Hurst. Now, if you want to get kind of fancy, you have a thing called inline 4-speed shifters. And one of those options is a Mr. Gasket V-gate or vertical gate. I don't know which one's which. I don't really care. All I know is there's the Mr. Gasket, and then there's the Hurst, the Ramrod, the Ram 4. It's got a lot of different names. The V-gate, the vertical gate, whichever one is which, it is still an incredible set of shifters here. So these two shifters, what they have in common is they both, instead of shifting with an H pattern where you have one gate here, which is 1, 2, 3, and 4. Typically, that's typical. It's like Chrysler for sure. And then this one, instead, it is now 1, 2, 3, 4. In line. And these do them in a very similar fashion, but also at the same time very differently. You can see that the Mr. Gasket itself is just actually quite simple, very heavy built, and just it's built to take abuse. This is something you could probably use in a dump truck. Like, you'd probably find this in a dump truck. The guy who designed this, it's probably what he did for a living. And then you have the Hurst here, which is more like a Swiss watch that was built by a blacksmith. Because it is just as robust as the Mr. Gasket, but it's got a lot more stuff going on, which is the reason why it probably didn't survive as long, because it's got way more parts and way more stuff going on than, well, this. Just to operate the reverse lever here, it's got a whole gate mechanism in here, and it's spring loaded, and it'll actually pop the whole transmission out of reverse if everything is set up right, just by pulling up on the handle here. And the Mr. Gasket, on the other hand, well, they just decided all you really need is a little pin and a gate, and yeah, no springs or nothing, just floating on a pin. That's all you need to operate reverse. Hi, Athena. So yeah, these are two very cool shifters in my opinion, and I wanted to give them a little bit of a spotlight here, because my obsession started when I got a smoking deal on what I thought was a ramrod shifter, a 4-speed ramrod. Turned out to be what I didn't even know existed, was a Ram 3, a 3-speed variation of the ramrod. And I really wanted to try and convert this thing over to a 4-speed, to the point in which I actually bought, well, actually this arm here, to try and convert to add to this one. And this is actually the later arm that came on this one. And I put the earlier one on because I wanted to. But I was trying to actually adapt this piece to fit on this one. And I was working on it. I was getting pretty close and I could make it work. But I really, once I learned that this thing was spring loaded and had all this crazy stuff going on, I had to have that. So we got one. One more thing I would like to add about these shifters that I may or may not have covered is the racing heritage that really comes with them. Is that there's no easier way to shift a transmission than just 1, 2, 3, 4 in a line, versus trying to, you know, work the H pattern, which is really not that big of a deal. But in the right hands of the right racers, these shifters are amazing tools. And in the right hands, like I said, can actually outrun an automatic transmission. Very rare, but in the right hands. So I actually scoured YouTube and could not find any videos. So here goes to the only video I think of I could find on YouTube of showing these two things coming apart and showing them side by side. Let's get to it. So what do you say? Let's get down and dirty into these shifters. Let's take them kind of apart and just show you what's going on with the Mr. Gasket and what's going on with the Hurst. And we'll time-lapse disassembly, reassembly. I'll show you what's going on. Let's get into it. Alrighty, and right into it. So we got the two shifters completely disassembled, minus a couple of small things. One, couldn't find my snap ring pliers anywhere to take these snap rings off to release this main gate here on the Mr. Gasket guy. And don't mind this thing literally just blowing out. I mean, when I actually bought this thing, that's how it showed up, was in a million pieces. So that's really the way I know how to take it apart. It's very simple tools. A hammer may or may not be necessary, whereas the Hurst version, Allen wrench, couple of different tools, couple wrenches. I mean, you could use wrenches on that, but I mean really a couple Allen wrenches. That is why the Mr. Gasket really succeeded in drag racing, and well, everywhere else where the Hurst kind of fell behind was because the simplicity of parts. Look at it. It's a couple of cutout plates. I mean, this is really easy to fix or repair. There's not a lot to go wrong. The Hurst, it's the same story, but there's more. I mean, there's literally just more going on. And as far as simplicity goes, that wins with the drag strip because, well, Not a lot going on. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, and reverse is literally just an extra little lever that just kind of hangs out. This guy, you got a lot more going on. That is the sledgehammer. This is like the Milwaukee auto hammer thingamajig. I don't know. It doesn't exist yet, okay? You get the point. Swiss watch, sundial. So, really cool shifters. I love both of these. As far as street applications go, I've heard guys using these, but not as successful. These, I've heard a lot of successful things about running the ramrod or the Ram 4 shifter, whatever you want to have for nomenclature. This one currently has the Ford mounting bracket, which has the reverse tensioner made onto it. I've got a B body one, and I'm gonna try and make an A body one. The A body one looks pretty simple, but I need to actually add on to my shifter here for the reverse tensioner. So not a big deal. We'll be able to do that. All you gotta do is basically just hang this down and have a place to tension the reverse arm. Now, one thing I will point out is we do have the two different styles here showcased. Early is the fancy one right there, and the one in my hand is the later style. Both are cool, both work, just a matter of preference. We're lucky enough to have both examples here. So, with both these shifters now completely apart, you kind of see what's going on with them. What do you say? Let's get them back together and just have some closing words. And with that, fellers and non-fellers and everybody in between, is the reassembly of the shifters. Now, the Ram 3, the 3-speed variation of the Ram 4, which is the 4-speed version, I did not take apart because basically it is literally just the assembly of the Ram 4 ramrod, minus the reverse stuff, which I had to remember how to put it back together because I went ahead and assembled it with the B-body mount instead of this. I think that's a Ford top loader mount. If someone needs that, let me know, because I was thinking about modifying it to fit the A-body deal to look like it, but unfortunately it's just not enough. It's not close enough, and I don't want to ruin it. So someone out there needs that, that'll be out there. And there's a little Athena playing. And by the way, I apologize about if that is annoying to anybody, but you have to deal with that. That's the one of the heaters we got. So we need to also at some point make this bracketry for the reverse tensioner piece work off of this, which all it has to do is hang the bottom, hang off this piece, come down, and just have a tab over here and just have that piece dangling, so that way it's got tension on that to keep it hung out of gear. That won't be too bad. But the whole premise of all this was to show off some very cool inline shifters, other shifters out there that are very popular among racers, street enthusiasts, anybody who's a car guy has an idea of these shifters. They've heard of a V-gate or a vertical gate. They knew a guy or knew of a guy who had one, or you've seen someone race with one, and everybody's got their preference. So, and I'll say when I'm reassembling these, this thing, I'm not as familiar with this, and when I had it reassembled, I had it actually kind of backwards, and these may be on backwards. I'm not 100% sure. When it mounts the transmission and mount like that, Well, no, it'd mount the other way. So those bolts are in backwards. Well, I'm just human, but I know like these are correct here. So, but I did not enjoy putting this one back together as much as I do enjoy putting this one back together. I'm weird like that. I'm just not a huge fan of this style. It's a little archaic and it works really good, but I'm more of a fan of this guy. So I'm thinking if I don't go standard H pattern on my A-body 4-speed for the yard dart, we'll probably end up doing the Hurst ramrod. This thing is too freaking cool not to use, and we'll either use stock rod style geometry with those, or we might make some more Heim joints. I don't know, but that's going to be a future video. So if you guys have enjoyed this, which I hope you have, because I'm really hoping in the future that when we get to finally take the yard dart apart, the reason why I don't want to take it apart is because it's literally, besides 800, the only thing that runs and drives reliably that I can depend on. And I don't like the automatic shifter, but I don't want to take that car apart when I've got some other cars that we're pretty close to getting back together, but we're fighting weather. So we're getting around that. And plus, when the dart finally gets its tunnel ram set up in 4-speed, it's going to just be amazing. Anybody's curious, these are two 390 Hollies, and like I said, Andrew Bostrom's tunnel ram there, and I've got to work on the linkage a little bit more on this, set up a bell crank setup, but yeah, the yard dart, in my opinion, what I'm headed for is to go perfect, the pinnacle of a street machine, back to the way it was. And if I could get side pipes like what was on it, the thrush outsiders that I ended up selling, I wish I had those back. If anybody out there has a set, I'd be happy to maybe be able to buy them if I can afford them. So, but I want to get the yard dart back to its street machine roots, which it's already kind of there, but I think we can make it even better. What says you, Athena? Yeah, she's tired from her vet visit, but she is laying on some t-shirts, so yeah, anybody out there who needs a shirt, you're going to talk to her or Anna, which that information is in the link description below if you are interested. So as always, guys, we hope to see you in the next one. Athena, me, Anna, Dad, everybody here at the Scott Speed Shop family, we appreciate every single one of you, especially those of you who watched this boring video about shifters. But maybe you guys got something out of it. But yeah, hope you enjoyed. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. As always, take care. Bye-bye.